The following is an EWTN special presentation.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to EWTN's live coverage from Denton, Nebraska, of the solemn consecration of the Chapel of Saints Peter and Paul at Our Lady of Guadalupe Seminary. I'm Father Calvin Goodwin, Director of Priest Training for the North American District of the Fraternity of St. Peter, and I'm joined here by Father Justin Nolan, who is the Assistant Director of Priest Training. And we'll be accompanying you throughout the ceremony this morning, broadcast live by Mother Angelica's Miracle Station, and explaining to you some features of the ceremony.
Right now we're waiting for the bishop to enter into, and there he is, Bishop Fabian Bruskowitz of the Diocese of Lincoln, who will be the principal consecrator this morning of the chapel of Our Lady of Guadalupe Seminary. And we're going to watch him in the antechamber here as he vests for the ceremony. Now this room that the seminarians of Our Lady of Guadalupe and priest of the Priestly Fraternity of St. Peter currently in is actually the former chapel. This is what was used as the chapel for the seminary since the seminary was erected in the year 2000, again consecrated by Bishop Bruskowitz. So there's been a wonderful continuity here with the Diocese of Lincoln, Bishop Bruskowitz, from the very beginning of the groundbreaking of the seminary through to the now the final stage, which is the consecration of the chapel.
Bishop Bruskowitz is joined in the chapel this morning by his co-consecrators, who include the Most Reverend James Timlin, Bishop Emeritus of Scranton, Pennsylvania, the Most Reverend Edward Slattery, Bishop of Tulsa, Oklahoma, and the Most Reverend Robert Finn, Bishop of Kansas City, St. Joseph, Missouri. The bishop is now saying the prayers which accompany his vesting. Other co-consecrating priests for the ceremony this morning include the Right Reverend Abbot-elect Philip Anderson of Clear Creek Monastery in Oklahoma, the Very Reverend Father John Berg, the Superior General of the Priestly Fraternity of St. Peter, the Very Reverend Joseph Bissig, the Rector of Our Lady of Guadalupe Seminary. You can see him on your screens immediately at the center of the screen right now, and Reverend Father Charles Van Vliet of the Priestly Fraternity of St. Peter, who has really been the chief builder of both the entire seminary and the chapel. The ceremony is celebrated in the presence of His Eminence, William Cardinal Levada, Prefect of the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith and President of the Pontifical Commission Ecclesia Dei, in charge of all the traditional religious communities throughout the world in the Catholic Church. Cardinal Levada will be preaching the sermon at this morning's ceremony, and he'll also be reading a letter that the Holy Father has sent for the celebration. You can see the outside of the chapel now, where a number of members of lay associations of the faithful and some other members of the faithful are gathered in the somewhat chilly temperatures this morning. The seminary is built on a hill. Most people don't associate the words Nebraska and hill, but in fact we got the only one. So people can look up to our seminary and we can look down on them. You see the very front doors of the seminary, and now we're back in the old chapel, as it will henceforth be known. In back of Father Bissig, you can see the abbot of Clear Creek. The priests are attended by their assistant priests who will help them throughout the ceremony. The bishop's vesting is being assisted also by 2 members of the Discalced Carmelite brothers from Wyoming who study here at the seminary with the fraternity seminarians. We also have members of the Society of the Most Holy Redeemer who are also studying here at the seminary, and they will be participating in the ceremony as well. The prayer which Bishop Bruskowitz has just sung is a prayer asking that God will be at the beginning and carry us through and bring to a happy conclusion all our works, and especially the work of the consecration today of the new chapel of the seminary. Now the procession is beginning, which will take us outside of the seminary and to the door of the new chapel. On your screens now is William Cardinal Levada with his assistant priests. The choir will follow them, and then the other co-consecrating priests with their assistants. Those are the members of the choir that you're seeing now. Now the procession is proceeding outside the main door of the seminary towards the front door of the church, where there will be the ceremony of the aspersion of the entire outside of the church. For this, Gregorian water is used. Gregorian water is a mixture of blessed water, a little wine, and some ashes, which are then used and to be sprinkled on the entire church. This ceremony and the blessing of this water goes back at least to the time of Pope St. Gregory the Great in the 6th century. Now on your screens is Father John Berg, the Superior General of the Priestly Fraternity of St. Peter, who's joining the procession with his assistant priests, and in back of him, Abbot-elect Anderson. Now the co-consecrating bishops will follow.
Here we have the procession line to the entrance of the church, where the aspersion will take place. And the consecration of a church is a very unique event. The consecration of a church is a solemn act by which God condescends to accept as his own a dwelling made by human hands. It echoes back to the time in the Old Testament when God dwelt amongst the Israelites in the tent that was made by Moses. And now in the New Testament, God still condescends to dwell amongst his children, and we do our best to make as worthy a dwelling place for him as possible. And that's why the ceremony which you're about to see here is so elaborate and so long, because whenever you are dealing with things of the divine, you want to make them as best as you possibly can and give God the most honor and reverence that it is possible for human hands to give.
The choir is singing Psalm 86 with the words, "The house of the Lord has been well founded upon a firm rock," and continues, "The foundations thereof are in the holy mountain. The Lord loveth the gates of Zion above all the tabernacles of Jacob. Glorious things are said of thee, O city of God." There's a long procession of priests of the priestly fraternity of St. Peter and also of the Diocese of Lincoln and other religious communities who have joined us today for this beautiful ceremony of the consecration of the church. Again, we see Cardinal Levada approaching the front of the church. It's prescribed in the traditional rite for the consecration of the church that the walls of the church, outside and interior, are blessed with the Gregorian water, which I mentioned, and the bishop will use hyssop, as in the ancient rites of the Old Testament, to do this aspersion. The bishop will go to the front door now, and he will give us a prayer.
There's an auditorium intending. Gloria Patri et Filio et Spiritui Sancto. Sic ut erat in principio